Hey everyone, welcome, good morning and good afternoon to CMMA Connect. My name is Chris Berry and I am the program director of CMMA, and I'm also the head of Yellow Tag Productions here at Best Buy. And speaking of Best Buy, we have a national conference that we're hosting here in October, and I wanted to turn it over to Patty to give us a little update on how that's going.
Great. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it. We're real excited to let everybody know that, well, actually, it's Chris Urvesty and I are, hang on, I'm just adding a spotlight there. Chris Urvesty and I are excited to, as co-chairs, welcome you to the Best Buy campus in Minneapolis, October 16th through the 18th for our 2024 National Conference. We have so much fun stuff. Not only are we going to see Best Buy, we're going to tour the Toro Company. Our favorite discussion groups and sessions are back. And as for the pre-con activity, this is super exciting. We're going to go behind the scenes of Mall of America. We're going to see how the largest mall in the nation operates, including audio to visual. They do a podcast. They're starting to implement facial recognition. Some really cool stuff they're getting, that they're involved in there at Mall of America. So that's the pre-con activity on Wednesday afternoon. And then, of course, our fabulous president's reception in the after that. Our keynote speakers, the first one is Kevin Guest. We've talked about him just a little bit before. Really excited to learn how to bring our business, continue the interest in our business and captivate our clients so that they keep coming back. And then from Best Buy, we have John Hardy, who's going to be talking to us about building a culture of belonging. And this will be a really exciting keynote on the second day. The can't miss sessions, you can't miss leadership forums back, tech forum. The partner sharing sessions are always great. We have a ton of AI stuff that we'll just build on from what we talk about today. Everybody's favorite, the Bijou, the Tour of Toro, and of course, all of the opportunities to network and meet up with each other. So come for the exciting content and networking, and stay for the weekend and see Minneapolis. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks so much, Patty. And we'll see what the weather's like, but it could be nice. Still in October, it should be nice. Like Patty said, we're going to talk about AI at the national conference. But there's so much going on in the world with AI right now, and I'm sure in many of our shops that we thought it would be good to do a mid-year check-in. So this time we're looking at how some of our partners are leveraging AI. And we know that many other partners are also working on adding AI capabilities, and we'll likely give them the opportunity to demo these at the national conference in October. But today we're really thrilled to have three of our partners with us, and I want to introduce each of them in turn. So we have Maggie Mixon from PlayPlay, and she heads up business development there. And Maggie joined PlayPlay in 2021. As a business development representative on the newly launched U.S. team. Over the past 3 years, Maggie has worked with U.S. clients spanning several industries, healthcare, finance, and media, to help them better communicate with their audiences through the power of video. When not working, Maggie enjoys taking in all the beauty that Paris has to offer, from museums to cafes, historical monuments, and beyond. So Maggie, welcome. You're in Paris as we speak, huh?
Yes, I am. We're gearing up for the Olympics over here.
Nice. I'm jealous. Okay. Secondly, we have Laurent Bredin, who's the product strategist at NewSpark, and as an experienced product owner for digital marketing and corporate communications across Fortune 100 companies for over 25 years, Laurent has built innovative data-driven solutions that can scale up operational effectiveness and generate revenue. And we've got some cool stuff to talk about with Laurent today. And then last but not least, we have Jesse Aris, who leads product marketing at 3Play Media. And Jesse is a digital marketing expert known for integrating AI and video into sales strategies to enhance customer engagement. And now at 3Play Media, he's committed to making digital content accessible ensuring it's available to all users, aligning with the mission to break down barriers in digital communication. So welcome all three of you. We're excited to have you here today. And we're going to start with exploring a generative AI use case with Maggie and our friends at PlayPlay. They rolled out a fascinating text to video feature that can quickly produce a video from simple prompts. Maggie, can you please give us a quick overview?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here to talk to you guys a bit more about AI, specifically AI for video creation. A little background on PlayPlay. So PlayPlay, it's a video creation platform. We work with marketing, communications, and social media teams across enterprises and SMBs. And essentially, they use our platform to make their own agency level videos themselves, completely branded without experience and in about 15 minutes. We recently rolled out our AI video assistant, which includes prompt to video. So I'm excited to share a bit more about that with you guys, and I'll go ahead and share my screen now. So I figured I'd start off by talking a bit about the most common video creation challenges I actually see with clients. So that's lack of video expertise. You guys are marketers. You're not necessarily a video editor, and you shouldn't have to be. Lack of inspiration, meaning people think, I really want to use video, but I'm not sure what use cases I should dive into. A need to repurpose content. So maybe you have something like this, say a 1-hour webinar, and you really want to stretch that content, but you don't know how to. And then lastly, just understanding performance. We really believe at PlayPlay, every video should have a purpose. And so if you're putting it out, you should be able to measure if it's successful or not. AI can help every step of the way though. So starting at a really high level with video strategy and planning, conversational AI can help you formulate that. And then going to that inspiration side of things with video content ideas, AI is there if you're saying, look, maybe I have an idea of kind of what I want to go to for social media, but I don't know really how to go about it. They're very creative as well. And then going into the video script, when you look at the copywriting and the actual script that you're using for the video, maybe you don't want to have to write that out completely yourself, but you have a general idea. AI can help you there. And then the most important one, I think, is the video creation side of things. AI is there to, as we say, take away the heavy lifting. You might not be a video expert or an expert in motion design and animation, nor should you have to be. So just telling AI what you want, they could then choose that for you. And then lastly, content repurposing. So we talk a lot at PlayPlay about anchor pieces of content. That might be your 1-hour video or the large TV spot that an external agency made for you. That should last you for a few weeks. You should be able to take that content and stretch it as long as you want, but it shouldn't turn into 5 or 6 new projects for you. AI could automatically clip that down for you to say, make 5 social videos or a highlight reel. So there are a few different ways about going to content transformation with AI. So here we're going to talk a lot about prompt to video, but there are a few other options, notably URL to video. You can also use video to blog. So say we're starting with that video, but we also want the copywriting to go with it, or we want the captions. And then, as I mentioned earlier, webinar to short form. So that would be AI clipping a video down into smaller portions so that you can keep posting it. So here's a little example of where you could go from an existing LinkedIn post that has a static image and how you could take it to video. This is a client TUI. So prompting is really important here. We're going to focus a lot on that. And while we may think, okay, I can just write really simply one sentence of what I want, in order to get the best out of the AI, you do still want to add a human touch there. And that means adding context into your prompt, adding details, goals, and what I think is most important is a tone of voice, because the AI could interpret that in many different ways, whether you're going for very professional, upbeat, or joyful. And that's also going to affect how well it performs on different platforms. So here's a little example video of what the AI made based off of that LinkedIn post that you saw from TUI. but I'll actually demo the tool for you live today. Now, before I turn it over to PlayPlay, I do just want to recap. Within the platform, you have many different AI capabilities. So you have script, article to video, voiceover, subtitling, and translation, but we won't go into those too much today. So with that, I'm going to share my screen to the platform itself. So here we are in playplay.com. Today, we're actually going to make a video, an AI prompt to video based off one of my clients, Flywire. So they're a global payments and software company, and they have a webinar coming up. We're in marketing, we love webinars, and we want to make a video to promote that. Before I dive into the AI video assistant, I want to point out one thing for us. So on the bottom left in team settings, I'll show you the branding tab. Branding's really important for us at PlayPlay. So we have logos already uploaded, as well as colors down to the hex code, custom fonts, backgrounds, and outros. I'm pointing this out to you now because when I jump in the AI video assistant, it is going to add all of this branding automatically. Once again, like saving you time so that you don't have to go back each time and deal with the tedious features of getting the right color and replacing the logo at each scene. Now on the left, I'll go to the home screen and into the AI video assistant. You'll see here we have our 3 different options. We have prompts, URLs, and documents, but we're going to do a prompt today. I have a prompt prepared for the webinar video that I'll paste in here. You'll see I have a description of Flywire, who we are. I have very specific instructions on how long I want the video to be, where it's going to live. And then I have details about what the webinar will be discussing and what we really want attendees to get out of it. And then at the end, once again, adding a human touch to AI, I really wanted to give it a specific instruction on how to end this. We want them to go and RSVP. Next, I'm going to specify the industry. So I'll say payments, the audience of LinkedIn, and then quite importantly, the tone. So I'll say optimistic. And then I'll hit save. Once I hit create a script, the AI will start analyzing my instructions. And you'll see here it's building out a storyboard of the video with the entire script. How you see screen 1, screen 2, and screen 3. A screen to a PlayPlay we compare to a slide to a Microsoft PowerPoint. So it's breaking out your video into digestible bits. Assuming I'm okay with the copywriting, I'll hit create my video. And what the AI is going to do, it's going to choose the motion design, auto-populate with stock media, and add your branding. So here it gives us a first draft. However, like I said, I like to add a human touch to AI and go in and zhuzh it up myself. So I actually went in and I spent about 2 minutes editing the video to come up with the final product that I'll share. And so after 2 minutes, I actually came out with this video promoting the webinar. So end to end, that video, I would say, took me about 8 minutes, starting from writing the prompt, getting the AI to make the video, and then adding my personal touch. We see this as really impactful to help you scale video, because if you could make this in 8 minutes, then video, it stops to be a luxury and it stops to be a nice to have. And it's something that you could have accompanying your posts at every turn.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, Maggie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm sure there are questions out there. Like I said in the chat, we'll get to those in another 20 minutes or so. So please feel free to add a question in the chat or save it for when we go live after we go through some of these great presentations. So, all right. So now that we've created content in media with AI, let's look at how AI can help us manage our media. And this is something we've been talking about a lot in our shop here at YellowTag. There's the dream of AI helping us find stuff in a second is something we've talked about. And but a lot of it has to do with machine learning, as we'll learn from Laurent. So Laurent is going to show us how NewSpark uses AI to simplify and speed up some of this work. So over to you, Laurent. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris and Maggie. So yeah, let me go here and share my screen. So a quick overview of NewSpark overall. We're here to simplify those complex media production workflows that you're probably used to seeing, many different platforms, many different systems, many different systems that touch the same video file over and over again. So we're helping ultimately, simplify a lot of that for two different types of audiences. The first one is those decentralized production teams that could be internal or agencies, as well as community managers. And I'll go through that a little bit more in a little bit later, because AI touches on both of those. So NewSpark has been around for quite a while. We have lots of customers across the media, publishing, and enterprise business overall. I'm going to go through slides quickly because I'd like to get straight to the point and to the meat of the demos. But also want to share ultimately the value that we offer to our customers. So it's ultimately streamlining some of those operations if you're going to be in the media production business. But then if you're going to be more of a community manager or brand marketer or trainer, any of those, that's when you ultimately want to engage your community. If you're public facing, you want to own your content. So instead of having social media destinations like Facebook or Google kind of own the data and own that content on their social media platforms, being able to actually have the content and the data in NewSpark that you would own as a customer, and also enforcing the governance, and that applies to all different types of customers ultimately. So what we offer overall is going to be the ability to quickly gather content. So that could be in the forms of either RSS feeds, emails, direct uploads, or be able to have upload widget forms on any kind of websites, or sending that to freelance production crews, etc. So be able to really be finite. It ultimately kind of a file sharing system, but a little bit more advanced because it keeps the metadata intact, depending on which project somebody is assigned to. The ability to enrich, and that's what we're going to go through with the AI tagging and captioning as part of our platform. And then we'll have also the review and moderation process that we're going to touch on a little bit. And ultimately, we also publish to many different destinations, and we create the engagement opportunities for gamification engine to ultimately create more a vibrant community ultimately, and release badges and coupons and stuff like that. So lots of great stuff that are available either in three different ways. One would be kind of a more of an enterprise solution with a platform as a service, leveraging all the APIs, white labeling everything that we do, and making it your own. The other one is going to be around community and contests. So that's more of our UGC kind of platform that we've had for over a decade. And then we have Media Manager, which is kind of a newer, kind of simplified version of the product specifically tailored for media production professionals. So key AI features. So we'll have the ability to do AI tagging. So that has a couple of different values. One is if you have a freelancer, for example, sending you content or any B-roll or anything like that, being able to better categorize that content, so you can actually have a quick recall or indexing of that content when you want to pull that into your video editing project. But also when the finished video is actually done, you actually have all the right tags to increase the SEO of your assets. So with that said, now that like I said, don't like to go through slides, but have to share them anyway. Let's go into the platform and upload the asset that Maggie created. So I'm going to go here into our upload widget. Let me get the Zoom thing out of the way here. There we go. And then I'm going to have the play video. And I'm going to upload it here. So this is the video asset that we got. I'm going to upload the file to our system. So what's going to happen when I'm uploading the file while I'm doing a screen sharing in Zoom with video, which is impacting my upload time. But what's happening is that the content is going to be received. It's going to start to be transcoded in different versions, one for the preview for the end user, but it's also storing the original file that can be downloaded at any point in time for reuse, or like I said, for editing purposes if needed. So if I go into the asset, into the medias and comments, you'll be seeing that we have this this asset that's actually being converting right now. And if I go into it, I'm going to go into the actions still as it's converting, and I'm going to say auto tag. And what that's going to do now is it's going to take not just a thumbnail of the video that's been created and adding tags to it, but now it's going to take a look at every single frame in the video itself and start identifying some tags. So here's the settings, ultimately a little bit of the back end of how that works. So the images is going to be the slate, the image slate. And right now I have it enabled for the auto tag, the scene recognition, and the kind of celebrity, landmark, and web detection. And there's a threshold in there. And the threshold is ultimately the confidence monitor or builder for the AI tag. So the lower the threshold, the more junk you're going to have. Is it a ball? Is it a square? Is it a shape of some form? You're not going to really get a lot of value out of that. So most of the threshold, you want to be more in the 90% mark, which is going to be with 90% accuracy. The machine is going to ultimately decide, I'm fairly confident that this is a soccer ball, not just any ball or anything like that. So that's where we actually set that up. We'll do the same thing with the video in there as well. Plus, we have the facial recognition aspect of it that we can actually train a machine into your actual account that's not shared with anybody else. But that's going to be the threshold for the videos. And as you can imagine, videos, 30 frames a second, lots of different assets being shown. So if you have for example, a video of a car for 1 minute, or B-roll of a car for 1 minute, you probably don't want to have car, like thousands of tags that just say the exact same thing. So here we ultimately say, order the most common tags that you're seeing in the video and show the top 30. So car won't show up, 30,000 times. You're just going to show one time, but probably add the first tag because this is the most common one. So that, again, helps you index and recall those video assets. So now that I've talked about exactly kind of how it does on the back end, you can see that tags have already been created. So if I go deeper into the asset, you'll see all of those different things that the machine is as recognized within the video that Maggie created from Play. And if you want to go a little bit deeper into exactly how are those being calculated and found, you can go here into the recognition labels and see with the percentage of the video how many times it occurred. So again, that's why those are going to be listed top, because it occurred the most often. But you can also say, I know there was a globe in there, so it happened, but it only happened for a section of the video asset. So that's ultimately how the AI tagging is working, is taking a look at all the different frames of it in the video, and then coming back with the most common tags. So that is great if you have, again, trying to have a bunch of B-roll content. You want to find a project that you happened maybe a couple of years ago. Remember that video in front of that thing with that product? Well, now you can actually do a quick search and have a quick recall of that, download the original file for your editing, or clip it, a specific portion of the video file to go there. So that's from a video production perspective. But now if I go into the UGC perspective, which is also entering another interesting aspect of it, is that we have the auto moderation. So for customers like media and publishers, like we have Hearst Digital, for example, that are having all of their 25 different broadcast stations, anybody from the public can actually upload content. Same as Can Geographic, anybody can upload content. That content could be shown publicly. So in order to keep the brand safe, we also have the ability to do auto moderation. So for example, if we are, for example, we're going to go through CanGeo. So if they have just nature pictures, right? Birds, sceneries, and stuff like that. They probably don't want to see ads for escort services. So what we have done is we can actually add a keyword here and say, great, if there's anything with a bikini, for example, which should not happen across all the different channels, I just want to auto deny that. So that way it doesn't see the light of day publicly. It doesn't, and the assets are published automatically on a UGC perspective, or they can be moderated by somebody in person. So here we kind of do the pre-moderation ultimately to keep that brand safe and ultimately weed out a lot of content that people should not be seeing. So that is in essence all the different things that are happening from an AI perspective, and tagging and indexing for a quick recall, but also using those to weed out some of the content. The next step, evolution of that, is not going to be just the tags, but also what's happening in the metadata file metadata itself to identify if the asset has been manipulated by an AI engine. So now we go into the disinformation, right? So being able to from our system, being able to now say, has that been manipulated? Is this real or not? Where did it come from? Was it shot on a real camera? Was it done through a video editor? Being able to say, well, if this has been altered now from a news organization like hers, for example, they would say, great, I do not want to use this in my newsfeed. It might be actually inaccurate. So let's fact check before we post this online. Same for contests with CanGeo. Let's make sure that this image that is about to receive a $5,000 prize doesn't, is not AI generated. And that has happened in the past as well. So we're using ultimately the platform here to make sure the brand is safe, and also to recognize if moving forward, if anything has been touched with AI to combat disinformation.
Thank you, Laurent. Fascinating. I think I came into the world of AI just thinking AI would figure everything out. And what I've learned is how much we need to teach AI in order for it to be effective. And that's pretty evident with what you just showed us. But then the end results are pretty amazing once you teach it what it needs to know. So one of the things we learned from our conversation today is the quality of our AI's output is a function of the quality of the data that it's trained with, as I just said. The process can take some time. And as we've witnessed over the past few years with language translations in particular, and 3Play Media knows this very well, and Jesse's going to show us how they have solved this problem by offering AI-assisted audio dubbing. And thank you, Jesse, for being here, and go for it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here to talk about what's going on in the world of AI dubbing. As we know, we saw some great presentations just now. There's been a lot of chatter. I'm sure you're hearing things about AI at your workplace. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about why AI dubbing is something to get really excited about and share a few ways that companies are using it. So my name is Jesse, as was mentioned. I'm a product marketer at 3Play Media. More about that later. I just want to really, like Laurent, really dig into the content here because there's a lot to go through. So I'll start with a quick, what I would say, history lesson. You might know this already, but I think it's fun to go through it. The first dubs for videos, movies, were nearly 100 years ago. Casablanca, we're familiar with that. When it first aired in Europe, it was supported by dubbing. And once movie execs saw how dubbing opened up new markets, new revenue, they jumped on that chance to localize as much content as they could. But of course, there's a catch. It was extremely expensive and took a really, really long time. So jump ahead 50 years to the turn of the century, and now we're in the digital editing non-destructive phase. This is exciting because this makes working with audio tracks a lot quicker. So it reduced that time, it reduced that cost to dub by a factor of 10. That means smaller indie films like this one, Run Lola Run, one of my favorites, could now find a new American audience, or I guess Canadian audience. I'm actually coming to you live from Waterloo, Ontario. Bonus points to anyone in the chat who has even heard of Waterloo, Ontario, and I'll be checking. But now here we are, right? This sort of looks like where we are today. Does this look familiar? Well, yeah, of course. With the advent of AI, we're now seeing the cost being reduced exponentially again by another factor of 10. So what does this mean? It means AI dubbing's democratized. We're here, dubbing for all, right? Well, what does that mean? And how is that actually helpful? Let's talk about some trends we're seeing in corporate video. That's my area of specialty. Companies all over are looking to expand to new markets. They're looking to localize their content to open new revenue and new audience streams, just like those movie executives nearly 100 years ago. Dubbing is the best way to do this because it keeps the tone, it keeps the intent of the original speaker, while at the same time resonating with local languages and customs. But dubbing is hard. We learn that. Traditional dubbing at the cheapest, so that means a common language like English to Spanish and a straightforward script with one speaker, at the lowest end is about $75 per minute. Now, this doesn't account for time spent with the actor. There's lots of other costs as well. AI dubbing, on the other hand, is significantly cheaper. Now we're talking about single-digit dollars per minute, as low as $1 per minute. But again, there's a catch. That process uses full AI, and if we've ever tried AI ourselves, we know that it's not perfect. I don't know about you, but the people I'm talking to who are making dubbed content, they say that the 90 to 95% accuracy from AI is just not good enough. We need something better. And of course, there is a better way. And we think that that is keeping a human in the loop to help with the process while still getting AI to do the heavy lifting. An example, I recently saw an AI voice script that read Bass Pro Shop as Bass Pro Shop. The words spelled the same. How would the AI know what to do without the context? So this is on the screen here, a quick overview of the process. If there's more questions about it, I can get into detail. We've got all the technical documentation on our website. But the idea is it starts with you uploading your video into our dubbing platform. We create a transcription, we create a translation, and then that translation is used to create a dubbing script. The translation is done by a native speaker of the language you're dubbing into. And this is important because there's often a lot of subtleties, cultural nuances that just need to be attended to. And I'll give you an example of that in a bit. But yeah, some words in one language might be vastly different or not have a direct translation to an English counterpart, or maybe they have more syllables. And, if you've ever seen some German words that are quite long, or some Dutch words, if you're trying to make the person on screen say that and make it somewhat match up with their voice, some liberties have to be taken with the translation, and some paraphrasing might occur. So this is really a huge value that having that human in the loop is going to add. As I mentioned, we have a native speaker who understands those cultural nuances. And then once that dubbing script is created, then the magic of AI begins. The video is dubbed with an AI voice that matches the voice of the original speaker, right? And that's one benefit actually AI dubbing has over traditional dubbing. So that voice can actually sound the same. And now all of a sudden this person speaks Spanish. Then of course, we mix the voice track back in with the audio track to preserve, any music or sound effects you had. And then, of course, one more time, we're going to have a person review that video to make sure everything's correct and nothing's slipped through the cracks. Having a human in the loop sounds like extra work, but when the file comes back perfect on that first time for you, it's worth it. And it's actually, we've all been here before. It's a lot less work than having to go in manually and make those changes after you've received it. So enough about that. Let's see what it looks like. Usually when I demo, I would show the English video, and then I would show the AI dubbing in the new language. But for this example, since I'm going to assume that most of us speak English primarily on this call, I want to be able to have you experience it. So I took a a open source safety video that was originally in Spanish and dubbed it into English for our chat today. I'll just play the first few seconds here, but this is the original Spanish video with a paid Spanish voice actor.
La extracción en minas y canteras es un trabajo importante con grandes máquinas y equipo imponente. Siempre ha sido trabajo duro y puede ser peligroso.
Okay, so if anyone speaks Spanish, keep me honest when you now hear the English version, okay? Again, remember, this voice is fully AI generated based off of the voice of the person who was just speaking.
Hey Jesse, did you show the first
Mining
video?
and quarrying is an important job with large machines and impressive equipment. It has always been hard work and can be dangerous. On November 20th, 1968, the disaster at Farmington.
So that's the video demo. Did I hear a question come in? Sorry, while I was speaking there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I didn't see the videos.
Okay.
I
Maggie,
was seeing it on my end. I don't see any other comments in the chat.
I saw it as well.
okay, well, if you do want a link to the examples, if they didn't work, I do have a little Bright Cove page set up where you can play with it, and maybe I'll send that around to folks after. But please ping me directly if you had an issue, and I'll send that to you. And if you did have an issue, ping me directly, please. Anyway, just so I can understand on my end how to improve this presentation for next time. But thank you so much.
Can you put your contact info in the chat, please?
Absolutely. I'll do that right now, and then we'll carry on.
Jesse, thank you so much. Was there anything else? I just want to make sure you didn't have anything else you wanted to leave us with.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to share how someone would use it really quickly. We have a customer who has a restaurant chain across North America. I can't mention their name because we don't have the rights, but they have over 3,000 restaurants, and a lot of them are in primarily Spanish-speaking communities. So the franchise owners and employees often speak just Spanish. So this is great for internal communications. This has been a great way to create one training video, get it dubbed, and get it sent out to a large audience in one easy step. And it's a really efficient way to make sure that your audience is engaging and understanding the content that you're seeing. So yeah, thank you so much.
Cool. Just amazing how far this stuff has come in so little time. Well, so thank you again to our three guests here. I would love to turn it over to the audience and see if we had one question that came up via Andrew that Maggie addressed in the chat. Curious if there are any other questions out there.
Well, I can get started. I have a question for Laurent, and thank you again, all three of you, for these great demonstrations. Laurent, I saw in your AI detection that there was a celebrity detection tag. Is that celebrity detection based on the central repository of faces shared among all your clients, or is this database really only specific to each client?
So this is actually going through AWS recognition. So that is an Amazon kind of data store that it's looking it up against. So that's a celebrity detection. Now, if you're a company that wants to that have internal communications with all of your executives, now you have the facial recognition. That is only at an account level. That is not shared across anybody else. So for example, if you're the CEO of the next company and you say, great, I want to see all videos of Ivan that have been recorded over the past decade, you can actually search for your name, boom, it's going to show up with all the videos that your face was recognized into any of those. Or what we've seen in the past is an executive leaves the company. It's like, we have to remove all the videos because they went to a competitor. So now you have to look up all those files, delete all of those, or flag those for deletion, or reshoot them if need be. So that's kind of how using the facial recognition instead of having to sort through thousands of assets. Say, was that person at the executive leadership video? Yeah, that's the facial recognition, but that is only at an account level, not shown against anybody else.
That's a great example. Thank you.
Okay, open to other questions. I have one while if everyone else is thinking of something to ask. So this is for all three of our guests. What are you encountering with enterprise security concerns when you work with your clients? And anyone who'd like to jump in.
Well, what we've noticed at PlayPlay, particularly on the AI side, when it comes to security concerns, as you mentioned, I work with a lot of clients across finance or government, including the federal government, and they initially had concerns about our AI assistant storing their information and then learning from it, becoming machine learning, which can be fantastic. And sometimes I have clients ask, like, oh, will it learn from my voice and then adapt to that? And as nice as that sounds, that's actually something we decided against for security concerns to protect people within those industries. So that's really what we've seen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just want to echo that. We get a lot of customers, like the training example that I mentioned earlier. There could be some real proprietary information in there. And so in order to accommodate that, we make sure that, and it's all built into our agreement, and this is something I would encourage you to look into as you're dealing with some of these vendors. We actually explicitly do not train our model on those customer videos just to ensure that nothing gets out of its lane. Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing, and actually it's like contracts discussion, right? Things that have to be put into the MSA that says you will not use our content to train your engines. So that is something that we're seeing from an enterprise and media perspective as well, where they request that to be done.
I have a question, Chris.
Right.
This to all three of you. What kind of adoption rate are you seeing with customers? Are there certain industries that are using you guys or AI in general more? I'm in the financial industry and we're still, we're dipping our toes in the water, but we can't just go and even try some of this stuff. And with more acceptance and seeing that things are okay, I think that'll open things up more. So I'm just curious as to if like, are there certain industries that just aren't doing it? Are certain industries saying yes, percentage wise, as far as how many customers you talk to are willing to try it out?
I think on my side,
speak.
go ahead, Margie.
Oh, thank you. I can't speak for the overall, but what I've seen in my experience, like you said, you being in finance, I've noticed maybe a bit slower adoption there because of regulation needs. But where I've seen more adoption or like enthusiasm, I would say, would be on the retail side of things. And then with our, ironically, kind of finance adjacent, but professional services and accounting firms like the Big Four.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it across the board, but for different purposes. Like I was mentioning, one is the indexing and the recall from a video production manager team that wants to like quickly get to an aspect of a video asset for repurposing, re-editing, or actually just put that into your editing queue. The other one was for more of the publishing and the media industry, where they want to use the AI tag, not to so much categorize the content, which is still helpful, but to do that keyword kind of blacklisting, right? Say, hey, do not show this, do pre-moderate it, because if they have thousands of assets coming in on a weekly basis, they're still going to have to fund somebody to moderate each one of those, and that costs money. So if we can do some up to pre-moderation for them, they're seeing cost efficiencies or cost avoidance, because a machine being able to do that in real time definitely keeps them safe and also reduces their overall costs. So great adoption, just different use cases.
Yeah, and quickly, one of the things that we're still solving for in the industry of voice synthesis is a lot of the expression and tonality. That's a problem that's being worked on by some of the brightest minds in the space. But for that reason, traditional movies and films, it's not quite prime time yet, and they can still expect to take advantage of human actors. But this is more for largely a corporate or educational audience.
Thank you.
Chris, do we have time for another question? You're muted.
Yeah, sorry, Stefan. Yeah, we can go to the top of the hour. I think there's
Okay.
enough interest here, so keep
Yeah.
going.
One question from Maggie. If I go back to what you presented, I was curious to have a sense of where among all your customers, where do you see more usage so far in the different, either steps of the journey or in the different ways to use AI? And do you see any moving trends? Like you're going to see more of this, even if today it's more focused in there.
I would say the first thing that comes to mind is really AI generated voiceover. When I started at PlayPlay even 3 years ago, it was very much focused on use cases for social media marketing and communications. And I didn't quite often see like learning and development or training teams. But I feel as though in the past year, that's become a massive boat of my clients. And they're asking a lot for AI generated voiceover because you get people who are voice shy or they just don't think it's as effective. So that's a big trend I've seen in terms of AI adoption in that step. And then the
So
other
you
one,
mean that it would be an existing video or a video not produced by AI that they will add an AI voiceover thanks to your platform?
so you could actually go either way. You could either start the video from scratch, for example, in PlayPlay, we have a from scratch feature, or you could go from AI, and with both of them, you could make an AI voiceover, an AI generated voiceover there. And then the second, I would say, emerging trend that I've seen is the AI subtitling, because as we know, if I'm on socials personally, I don't watch with the sound on. If I'm on the subway or if I'm walking home, even sometimes I get kind of scared when the sound comes on and I nearly drop my phone. So I need it to have the subtitles there. And then just for communicating with a larger audience, it's the AI subtitling with the AI translation of those subtitles.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I have a question for all three panelists. Could you talk a little bit about
Hey, Steve, can you introduce yourself for us?
Yeah, sure. I'm Steve Underhar, senior analyst with Intelligent Research. I track a category that I call intelligent video, which essentially is the integration of AI with video platform solutions developed for business uses. So very interested in what all the panelists have to say, and very interested in learning how much of the technologies that you're bringing to bear are proprietary or in-house technologies, and how much you're incorporating AI utilities, external processing capabilities from a chat GPT or Anthropic, for example.
Anyone want to take that one on?
I could take a stab. So yeah, as I think I mentioned that in my demo, right? It's we're using AWS recognition, so that is a third party. But after that, our special sauce to actually identify those tags, categorize those tags, be able to make use ultimately of the data, of the response that we would get from AWS recognition. That's kind of our proprietary kind of special sauce per se. So yeah, we're not going to be creating a net new AI engine beyond just the facial recognition or maybe a product recognition that's only going to be associated to a specific customer account, and that's not going to be open to or sent back to an AWS, for example.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that, Laurent. That's the right way to go in terms of not recreating the wheel in terms of the core processing power and putting your own spin on whatever output you get from the AI utility. So it's not implying that there's no differentiation there. It's more where does the differentiation come from?
Yeah,
we
absolutely work with
a
couple different vendors to make sure that we meet the criteria that our customers expect. But we also have been around for nearly 20 years and have a significant amount of information that we have already been creating our own MLs on. And this is we didn't really call it AI or machine learning back when we were doing it, but we used the data that we would get for a lot of our ASR, which is automated speech recognition, to help streamline the process when it comes to dubbing and captioning specifically. So we've got tons of data, and we would be silly to not be using it to help our customers.
Yeah, you were doing AI before you even knew what AI was.
Still don't know what it is, Steve.
You do.
Yeah, it's kind of a Rorschach test, really. Thank you, Steve. Great questions. Hey, Laurent, I was going to ask you, how long does it take your clients before it's working robustly? Like what is the process for machine learning and getting a media asset management system up to speed with AI?
I didn't. I'm not going to send you any dollars, but thank you for pitching us. You can sign up for free today using the Media Manager tool at newspark.io, and that gets set up in a minute.
I guess what I meant was, you have to do a lot of work to get it to where it knows what to do, and I was more curious about what does that development time take to where it's at 100% robustness?
Yeah, so that's because we're using a utility on the back end, it's going to be dependent on that utility, right? And same thing that I put into the chat, it also depends if they're using copyrighted materials or not, right? Because they can get in trouble. So the results that we would get, just like ChatGPT, you're like, wow, this is greatly accurate. It's like, yeah, but as soon as they removed all the proprietary content that they crawled on the web, all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is pretty crappy now. So it really is garbage in, garbage out based on the use of those digital rights. So that's that on the utility part. So that could take, and it has been taking, years for those to happen. Now, I think there's a company called 12 Labs that looks like they're doing some great stuff around what's happening in the video and being able to build kind of their own. But again, they're probably using some sort of utility on the back end, or multiple utilities on the back end, and aggregating all of that to get the best results. But there's going to be some training that happens, but it takes years. From a facial recognition perspective or product recognition perspective, that's where it could take, pretty much as much time as you put in, right? So you upload, 10 pictures of an exec, but those pictures were from 2 decades ago. Now they show up and they're much older. The AI engine might say, well, I'm 70% confident. You have to keep updating those facial recognition if somebody, changes. So that would be kind of a one-time setup of setting up, pretty much putting kind of the recent pictures for those facial recognition for the machine to learn. It could take just a couple of hours to actually do the initial setup from a facial recognition perspective, depending on how many people you have, any pictures you have of those execs. And then it's going to be maybe once every year or every 2 years that you're like, hey, let's update those screenshots, those headshots from those people, because look at that, Laurent lost all of his hair in 2 years. So that might be something. Sorry, Jesse. No, you look great. Bald is amazing. But yeah, that's ultimately something that you would have to do on an ongoing basis as well to keep up with the new tags, the new products, the new people that are in your organization.
Laurent, to piggyback on that, do you have any guidelines in terms of how much media, how much content, maybe in terms of hours of content, you need to really train an AI to be 80% accurate?
That's a great question. I don't think anyone would know kind of that information, right? Because it's different algorithm to do or to have the output, vector-based versus, adding, billions of assets. So there's different methods that are still being investigated, right? Different approaches to AI and how would something associate a sailboat to a race car, something, it looks like there's a drape. Oh, well, that's a drape. That's not a sailboat. Being able to have exactly that, those different approaches, there may be a new one that might be coming up, but it's still too new to ultimately be able to provide a clear answer on that. It's still a little bit of the Wild West.
And it probably also depends on the industry and the type of content you do. I know the financial industry does a lot of talking head content, so it might help train the AI on identifying the key executives quickly. But if you have a lot of marketing content that's customer facing and product related, it might take a little longer.
Yeah. For now, it's going to require still a lot of manual input based on those experts. So the machine could do a first pass, kind of a little bit like 3Play, right? Like it goes through the machine, and then you have a manual review. It's going to be the same thing with AI tagging, as like, hey, let's keep training, let's keep encouraging ultimately the machine to know what's right and what's wrong. So having the ability to say yes or no, or plus or minus or something like that to the tags that have been added, and then whatever is being added manually, those should get a higher weight because you know it's coming from a trusted source that really knows ultimately what that content is about.
All right. Thank you, Laurent. And again, great questions, Ivan. Appreciate it. And I want to thank Ivan for helping us build and shape this session today. I want to just remind everyone that we are meeting again in October at the national meeting here in Minneapolis. And we are also, and we'll pick up the AI conversation there. And I'm sure it'll be a thread that runs through those 3 days we're together. And then in addition, we are working on another Connect for next month. We'll be letting everyone know about that as soon as we can. So look for that. And again, I wanted to thank my guests, Jesse, Laurent, and Maggie. And Maggie, enjoy Paris. It's about dinner time, right? Or a little later. So
It's about glass of wine time over here.
glass of wine time. Nice.
It's always glass of wine time in Paris.
That's the spirit.
Especially for losing at the Euro in a semi. That was sad yesterday.
That was sad. That was sad, admittedly.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And we'll see you again soon.